Hi guys, I have a very fun update for you based on the feedback you gave me earlier in the week. So, one of the things I spent the most time on was this new front window concept. I can show you some of the other options I considered, but I do still think that perhaps I like the circle more. But just as a fun, quirky example or something that's a bit unique without really breaking the mold, here is the same square windows that we're using for all of the windows on the side elevation. So these four and two more on the opposite side of the house. This is that same window. It's a square window, and we've just rotated it 45 degrees and then let that define the limits of the stone facade. And I think it's kind of cool. It looks like a diamond tip at the top of a small pyramid. And then I couldn't help myself but also play around with some geometries and proportions and have a little bit of stone or painted stucco if budget's limited, but probably not. But put a little bit of stone in here as an accent that sort of just helps the eye take off from what could otherwise have been a flat level and how we get to the 45-degree unique rotation here. And in a perfect world, I'd say let's make sure that this was also a spinning type of window, either this way or that way, that could either open as a swivel window with pivots here and here, or as a hopper window with pivots here and here. But what that does for me, if I do square this up, is it just allows me to move away from even attempting any arches on these windows at the front. And doing so, I think, gives us a little more window area. We talked about how we'd be buying the full piece of glass and then cutting it down for the arch. Well, now we're just taking advantage of the full height of glass that's available. And I felt like I wasn't really fighting against the oops, on your neighbor's house. I wasn't really fighting against the rooftop anymore here. So I was able to introduce the same concept here, and now we've got a lot more window at the second floor living area, the library. But this was also achieved by pushing the windowsill down. So I do want to make sure that you guys are okay with this. So what I've done is I've essentially set the windowsills here to be 24 inches above the floor. I think that's perfectly adequate. I think it's okay to have the tops of pillows overlapping the windowsills. I think this is just fine. But I want to make sure that you guys are okay with that because that does potentially maybe limit the height of cushions and things like that that you might want to put against the window. Since we're here at the back, I want to show you a different take on what the rear elevation could look like, while keeping true to the what you call the snake bit of wood. I've modified it here so it is in response to not needing so much window at the back, or at least not so much sliding glass door, but keeping more glass. Connecting these two windows here, the window at the master bathroom and the windows down in the living room, I like the concept of skinning up this side here so that the window could be operable as a casement window here and here. And this picks up the same proportions as what we have going here. One thing I didn't like that you asked for was to center this bedroom's window arrangement over the existing. And I could keep working on it, I suppose, but it just really feels, in my opinion, kind of cramped here. A quick fix might be just to bring this out, obviously clean that up, but it just really feels like it's biased too far over to the side, leaving too much blank space here. And even maybe, well, let's take that roof edit away and bring the windows back to where they were before. This is more centered in the wall. more centered in the room. I just feel like it looks a little bit better. And yeah, it does break with having a perfect alignment with this existing window here, but I feel like that's okay. It's interrupted by this bit of roof overhang. You asked for this bit of bench area to have some storage built in. I see no reason why it couldn't. Um, I think the simplest way to achieve storage would be to have some panels that would slide, uh, you know, and overlap with each other. And since you asked for that, and since we asked to keep this existing window here, I thought to myself, what do we do with the extra room we have on the wall here? And I thought it'd be really great to take this concept of a bench and replicate it here, but this time as a little bit of an herb garden or a little veggie garden for home, right outside the dining room windows, right outside the kitchen area. So when you look out these windows, you'd see perhaps that night's dinner, or when you're dining here, you're right next to what will smell very, very great during harvest time. And the whole thing doesn't have to be for plants and root areas. I'd say a lot of this could perhaps be some more storage like this, work table for the little garden area, and storage elements, gloves, small tools, shears, things like that. The idea of moving the pergola across the other side of the pool is a fantastic idea. It really does give more purpose to this part of the backyard. And being out here, it gives us the freedom to uh, change the orientation. Ignore those. Those posts shouldn't be poking out of the roof like that. But it gives us a chance to change the orientation up and be able to sit back here in the shade in the afternoons. I think the last change being made, well, a couple more changes here at the front. I've reduced the depth of this entry porch area. The height's the same, but it doesn't come off the wall nearly as far. In fact, it just barely comes off this wall. So hopefully that'll feel a little brighter, a little more open. And then I have copied this window arrangement down into this lower bedroom, and it does indeed look far more orderly and purposeful. So I would definitely encourage this. And I think back here, the last thing to talk about was shifting these uh, solid wall elements, the solid fence elements, to the outside edge of the property line, leaving the center to be more of the open wrought iron type. And other than a little bit of playing with the arrangement of the materials here at the second floor, floor to ceiling height windows, there wasn't really a change, but just to get a glimpse of that pergola in the backyard space and looking down at everything else here. this window would crank open. So you'd be able to stick your face out and shout at the kids if necessary. Well, guys, I'm really excited to hear your feedback on our or at our next meeting on Monday. Thanks, guys.